Have you ever looked at a clock and felt like the second hand stayed still just a fraction of a second too long? We like to think of time as a universal constant, a steady, unwavering river flowing from the past into the future. But according to the world's leading physicists and documented scientific experiments, that's actually an illusion. Time is flexible. It can be stretched, it can be warped, and in some documented cases, it seems to break the rules of cause and effect entirely. Today, we're looking at the strange reality of the fourth dimension. From atomic clocks on airplanes to the mysterious behavior of the Earth's core, these are the top 10 time anomalies documented by scientists. What if I told you that traveling around the world doesn't just change your time zone, it actually makes you younger than the people you left behind? In 1971, physicists Joseph Hafele and Richard Keating decided to prove Einstein right using nothing but commercial flight tickets and 4 cesium atomic clocks. They flew twice around the world, once eastward and once westward. This experiment documented 2 types of time dilation: velocity, special relativity, and gravity, general relativity. When the planes landed, the results were staggering. The clocks that traveled eastward, moving with the Earth's rotation, lost 59 nanoseconds relative to the ground. The clocks traveling westward, moving against the rotation, gained 273 nanoseconds. This happened because the speed of the plane relative to the center of the Earth changed how fast the seconds ticked. Because the planes were also high in the sky, where Earth's gravitational pull is slightly weaker, the clocks ticked faster than they would on the ground. This confirmed that time isn't a rigid background, it's a fabric that stretches based on how fast you move and how much gravity you feel. If you spent your whole life on a plane, you would technically be a fraction of a second younger than your twin on the ground. Your phone is currently communicating with a fleet of satellites that are literally living in the future. Every GPS satellite is essentially a high-speed time machine. To provide you with your location within a few meters, these satellites must be synchronized to within billionths of a second. However, because they are orbiting at 14,000 kilometers an hour, special relativity causes their clocks to tick 7 microseconds slower per day. Simultaneously, because they are 20,000 kilometers away from Earth's mass, general relativity causes them to tick 45 microseconds faster per day because gravity is weaker. This results in a net difference of 38 microseconds, and while that seems like nothing, light and radio signals travel 300,000 kilometers per second. If scientists didn't program a drift into the satellite software to subtract those 38 microseconds every single day, the time discrepancy would cause your calculated position to drift by 10 kilometers every 24 hours. Within a week, your GPS would think that you were in a different city entirely. Every time you use Google Maps, you are using a documented correction for a time anomaly. Have you ever noticed that a car crash seems to happen in slow motion? Science says that your brain isn't just imagining it, it's actually overclocking. Neuroscientist David Eagleman conducted a terrifying experiment to document this. He had participants fall backwards from a 150-foot scav diving tower into a net. While falling, they were asked to look at a chronometer on their wrist that flashed numbers too fast to see under normal conditions. While they couldn't actually see the numbers, meaning their vision didn't speed up, they all reported the fall lasted much longer than it did. Eagleman discovered that when we are in a state of terror, the brain's amygdala kicks into high gear, bypassing the usual filters and recording memories with much higher density. When you replay that dense memory later, it feels like time slowed down because there is more data for that 1 second than there is for a normal second. This is a documented biological anomaly where the frame rate of human consciousness increases to help us process survival critical information. Scientists recently discovered that the very center of our planet might have just hit the pause button on time. The Earth's inner core is a solid iron nickel sphere as hot as the sun's surface, suspended in a liquid outer core. In 2023, researchers at Peking University published a study in Nature's Geoscience detailing a massive anomaly. By analyzing seismic waves from repeating earthquakes, shocks that happen in the same place years apart, they can track how long it takes for the wave to pass through the core. They found that around 2009, the inner core's rotation relative to the surface almost completely stopped. The data suggests that the core oscillates on a 70-year cycle. It speeds up, matches the crust's rotation, and then appears to rotate backward from our perspective. This shift affects the entire planet's internal clock. It changes the length of an Earth day by fractions of a millisecond and shifts the sea level and magnetic field. It's a documented hiccup in the planet's internal gears that proves our world doesn't spin as a single solid unit. What if the choice you make tomorrow could change what happened yesterday? In the quantum world, the arrow of time can point both ways. In our everyday lives, cause always precedes effect. You drop a glass, cause, and it breaks, effect. But in 2017, physicists documented retrocausality in quantum systems. In a delayed choice experiment, a photon is sent through a setup where it can behave like a particle or a wave. Crucially, the decision of how to measure the photon is made after the photon has already passed through the most critical part of the experiment. The results showed that the photon knew how it was going to be measured in the future and adjusted its behavior in the past to match it. It suggests that at the most fundamental level, time is not a one-way street. Information can travel from the future to influence the past. And while we can't use this to win the lottery yet, it is a documented violation of linear time at the subatomic scale. If you want to live a longer life, you should stay at sea level, because at the top of the world, time is literally running away from you. Gravitational time dilation isn't just something that happens near black holes. It's happening right now between your head and your feet. Because gravity is a curve in space-time, the closer you are to a massive object like the Earth, the slower time ticks. Scientists at the National Institute of Standards and Technology documented this by comparing two ultra-precise aluminum atomic clocks. When they raised one clock by just 33 centimeters, about a foot, the higher clock began to tick faster than the one on the floor. On a massive scale like Mount Everest, this becomes measurable. A person who spends their entire life at the summit of Everest would age about 15 microseconds more per year than someone at sea level. Over an 80-year life, the person at the top would be about a millisecond older. You are literally aging faster at the top of a skyscraper than you are in the basement. Light is the fastest thing in the universe, but scientists have found a way to make it stand perfectly still, effectively freezing time for the light weight. Light usually moves at a constant 299,792 kilometers per second in a vacuum. However, researchers at the University of Darmstadt in Germany documented an experiment where they brought light to a complete standstill. By using a control beam of laser light to manipulate the opacity of a cryogenically cooled crystal, they trapped a second light pulse inside the crystal's atoms. They successfully held it there for 60 seconds. For that light pulse, time effectively ceased to exist because its velocity dropped to zero. When they turned the control beam off, the light pulse resumed its journey as if nothing had happened. This is a documented way to create quantum memory, essentially pausing a moment of time for a particle of light and then releasing it later. Imagine a clock that keeps ticking forever even after the universe dies. That is the reality of a time crystal. Standard crystals like quartz or salt have a repeating pattern in space, but in 2017, physicists at Harvard and the University of Maryland officially documented a new state of matter called time crystals. These are groups of atoms that repeat a pattern in time rather than space. In a time crystal, the atom flips or rotates in a rhythmic cycle without consuming any energy. If you nudge a time crystal, it won't just sit there, it will change its state and then flip back over and over forever. They exist in a state of perpetual motion that doesn't violate the laws of physics because they remain in their ground state, their lowest possible energy level. They are essentially a glitch in the flow of entropy, maintaining a rhythmic tick that exists outside the normal decay of time. There is a 200 million year gap in Earth's history where time seemingly stalled for the evolution of life. Around 2.4 billion years ago, oxygen first appeared in our atmosphere during the Great Oxidation event. Logically, complex life should have evolved immediately to take advantage of this new energy source. Instead, life stayed simple and microscopic for over a billion years, a period that geologists call the boring billion. Scientists have documented a strange link. During this time, the Earth's rotation was stuck at exactly 19 hours. Because the moon was at a specific distance and the sun's heat was creating atmospheric tides, the two forces canceled each other out, locking the day in place for eons. Evolution only resumed when the moon moved further away and the Earth's clock started slowing down again, allowing for longer days and more sunlight. Life was literally waiting for the planet's clock to start ticking again. Deep beneath the border of France and Switzerland, scientists have discovered that the universe has a favorite direction in time. Most laws of physics are time symmetric, meaning they work the same whether time goes forward or backward. If you saw a video of a billiard ball hitting another, you couldn't tell if the video was reversed. But in 2012, the Babar experiment at SALC and later the Large Hadron Collider documented a direct violation of time reversal symmetry. They watched particles called B mesons decay and found that the transition from state A to state B happens at a different speed than the transition from state B back to state A. This is the first documented proof that the universe has a built-in arrow of time at the most fundamental level. It is the reason why time only flows in one direction and why we remember the past but not the future. It is the most profound time anomaly ever recorded because it is is the reason for existence itself. It turns out time isn't just a number on your watch, it's a physical property of the universe that can be manipulated and observed in ways that defy common sense. From the center of the Earth to the smallest particles in existence, time is full of glitches. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. For now, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and I'll see you on the next one.